We're back with Have You Seen My Film, a Kinema podcast. And today we are talking with Emma Buzgo. Emma is an intern in the office. She is our Gen Z person who's going to tell us everything about Gen Z marketing, everything. 100%. She knows 100% everything. Right? That's what you said.
Totally. Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
Exactly what
She speaks for all Gen Zers everywhere. We met recently because she's working with one of the companies in the same office we work out of and is doing content marketing for the company. She'll tell us more. And we started talking about film, and she has experience in working in film. She's a film student. She also has been making films and also just knows film communities online. So in talking to her, I started to learn more about what these communities look like that probably due to the age gap, I don't have access to and don't directly experience. And so in a time where everyone's trying to figure out how to reach audiences and clipping has become a thing, I asked if she would take this conversation online, and she said yes. So thank you, Emma, for doing this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So what's your film, your marketing experience, education, interests? Tell us who you are.
Yeah. I go to Northeastern University up in Boston. Moved here in the end of June to start my internship. So yeah, I mean, I do some of the marketing content for CKBG, the brand. Can I say that?
Yes, you can. You can totally say it, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the brands that we cover, I'm kind of like more of a general role for the company in terms of marketing things. So not like focusing on one specific brand over another, but I tend to do more of like the TikTok things I started with Superbird and now I'm moving towards more of like Stutzy and Doladira content. But yeah, at Northeastern, I directed a short film while studying abroad in London. It's called Jazz in London, Moving with the Times.
Nice.
So it's also on YouTube if anyone ever wants to watch it.
That's the right move. Always plug your film.
Yeah, watch it. But yeah, it was a really amazing experience. I directed it, so it was kind of diving right into the fire in terms of learning kind of what you're supposed to be doing as a director. I was teaching and also just directing about like 5 other people.
So when you're doing the content here, are you directing the content? Like if when you decide we're going to make a TikTok, is that we're going to make a schedule of TikToks, or there's something happening, we should jump on a trend? What does that look like for the brands here?
Yeah, I mean, typically it's the brand managers or like head of digital that tend to want to push the more social media things. I think, previous interns before me have like really kind of run with it. And I think that kind of thought process they wanted to continue with me being here. So yeah, it's usually more broad. It's like, do you see any trends recently on TikTok that we should jump on to make sense for the brand? And then it's just me looking through TikTok, doing like research, as we say, which is just me sitting at my desk watching TikToks, which doesn't.
So your job is literally to watch TikTok.
Yeah,
yep.
It doesn't look super good for me. But I'm like, I will every once in a while be like, I'm like, trust me, I'm not just like sitting here like
this is research.
Like I actually need to do this.
And so when you create content for the brands you work with, you're doing the online research, which is like following those trends.
Yeah.
And then you yourself personally, we call it like a lurker? Are you watching most stuff, or are you also creating your own stuff?
Yeah, I guess I'm a lurker. I don't know. I've always kind of been one to maybe like listen over talk, I suppose. I think that kind of translates into like my social media existence, where I like to watch and see what's going on, but I've never really like had an interest in like putting myself on camera. It's just not like, it doesn't come naturally to me. And personally, like, I don't think there's anything in my life I feel is important enough to be like, hey, I'm here doing this thing. Like, watch me do this. Or here's my
it's Emma on YouTube.
Yeah, no, like I like to see what other people are doing.
And then as a filmmaker, you're behind the camera. You do want to make long form content, essentially.
Yeah,
You have film,
totally.
TV, documentary.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that tend to inspire me when it comes to wanting to create longer form content is mostly just personal life experience. I think loneliness is something that I feel like is something I've dealt with a lot in my life, and I think a lot of people also deal with. And so and more like student film, like short things for classes that I'd have to do, I would tend to like tackle that theme, like being, lonely on a college campus, experiencing kind of the constant stress and pressure of having to like do well and get good grades, but then also have to be in 1,000,001 clubs and constantly showing off, your achievements on LinkedIn so that you can hopefully get a job one day. I think all of those things coming together, it makes for a difficult experience. And I think that's also kind of tied to like Gen Z as a
Yeah, because so did you start college when the pandemic was happening or what?
pandemic happened when I was 16.
Oh God.
So
Oh boy. I feel old.
so
Okay.
I was in my sophomore year of high school.
Got it. So there's
Um,
that. I think that also what I've heard is that that feeds into it a little bit. If you're in high school or college,
yeah,
like during the pandemic times, if you had to be
totally.
home, that was a loneliness driver. And so you start. So you're on all these different platforms. Like it's we're all on a bunch. That is contributing in some ways to everyone's loneliness because we're so separated. But there's still these communities that people participate in. I think I'm in part of the film community on LinkedIn. That's what my feed is giving me. Those are the people I talk to on LinkedIn. And you were telling me about like film, we call Film Talk or
Yeah.
TikTok. So tell me a little bit of what communities you participate in or watch or lurk or listen to when you're in Film Talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really weird the concept of like your phone is listening to you. I know that Apple and other phone companies have disproved it like a million times and been like it's not true, but I'm
Mhm.
like it still does kind of feel true
100%.
because a lot of the times I see a film in theaters or like I just stream it on my laptop or something and then like the next day on TikTok there's like an edit of the film that I just saw.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
But it tends to be like, there's certain I feel like niches that I enjoy, which is like more so horror, like coming of age, that type of stuff. And so like I think challengers, I love challengers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was like really big on TikTok, not just for me, but I think a lot of people.
What does that mean to be
Um
if he's really big on TikTok? So were you seeing as the movie came out in theaters, what type of content was coming out? Just people sharing clips? Were they talking about it? Were they giving reviews? What did that look like?
yeah, I think the biggest thing people participate in is edits. I don't necessarily see a lot of like film reviews from people on TikTok because I just don't think it's really that type of platform.
Mhm.
I think it's more so people like to use it as a creative expression or even in some ways as like a fan fiction platform, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it's like essentially like people that watch these films and are like, oh, this is great. Let me like edit this to like some song or something like that and like make my own mini narrative about what
Oh.
the film meant to me. Or even like trying to continue on based on the clips that already exist, like fantasies or things that could have happened within the film that wasn't shown on screen, but make it look like it could have happened through like clips taken from it.
Just from the existing clips from the film, it might be,
Yeah,
I want to make my own alternative ending in
right,
a sense,
exactly.
or like a montage of photos of the character you have a crush on or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
And then are they doing this because it's out of love for the movie so much? That's like it's just a creative expression.
Yeah.
Is it because these are there creators who build followings doing this? Like, or yeah, or is it both?
Yeah, it's both, definitely. I think a lot of people, it probably does start just from like, oh, I really liked this film. Let me make edits of it because it's cool. And then they just start making more and more because people are like, this is great. I'm sure there's like accounts that are like known for make really good edits and have their own following based on that. I think it's just like a way for people to fantasize about a film. I think also in the age of like long form series where we're getting like 20 plus hours now of the
Yeah.
same story or content. With films, it's like people are just craving more and more because it is only like an hour and a half to 2 hours, unless you're Oppenheimer and you decide to make it 3 hours, which is fine. And I
Right.
loved Oppenheimer too. I think there's a disparity in terms of length and the amount of content you're getting now from film versus extended series. I
Yeah.
think people just want more and more content. And so they're just like, I'm just going to make it myself then.
Oh, interesting. And so, what can you give me another example of something you've seen? So, have you seen like you said, challengers?
Yeah.
For those of us who don't get to haven't fixed our algorithm to see some of this stuff,
Mhm.
like like did someone change the ending of Challengers?
Yeah,
And
I think there's the idea that at the end of Challengers, I mean, this is gonna be spoilers with this, but like they all get together, or
oh,
like
so
that.
when they teased us in the trailer about
Right.
what was going
Yeah.
to happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
I get
Yeah,
it.
that type of thing. Or it's like I
Ah,
think also people use it as a way to like make a statement in terms of like certain like societal issues as well,
oh,
which
interesting.
I think is interesting. Like I think the crux of a lot of films now, like I'm thinking of Nosferatu and Sinners. Those are like the more horror based films,
Mm.
and horror obviously historically has roots at societal critique
Hmm.
and social justice, things like that. But I think people have now used it also as a way to spread awareness about the hidden messages that are in these films.
Oh,
So, for example, Sinners, I watched it originally. I was like, this is sick. And I understood the vampirism as an allusion to colonialism, but the depth of it and also the connection to Remick being Irish is a part of it as well. And like the history of like Irish immigrants in America, like
Hmm.
there's certain things that like people picked up on and then like made edits of it on TikTok that were like kind of exposing more of those like hidden meanings in like really unique ways, if that
Uh,
makes sense.
yeah.
Same with like Nosferatu, where people were like, actually, it's all like an illusion or metaphor for like her sexual assault as a child.
Mm.
And like Nosferatu is like that like physical embodiment of what it does to like a woman.
Yes. I carry it
Um
with you. Yeah.
so like they kind of also now use these edits on TikTok to kind of like make statements about society, about things people are going through, and editing it in a way that it makes those things clearer, if that
It
makes
pulls it
sense.
out for people. So in
Right.
case someone didn't kind of catch it and watching it, or it could be a perspective, or maybe because is it when they're making these edits, do you find it's a certainty? Like someone's like, I'm trying to explain. If you didn't catch this, let me explain it to you. Or is it more like my interpretation of this is, or both?
Yeah, again, I think it is both. Like with the way that TikTok is, it's such a fluid platform that it's just kind of like there's so many ways to go with it and so many ways you can interpret it that I think people have so many meanings in terms of the things that they post anyways that
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really goes into it with like any type of certainty about anything.
Uh,
So,
and then last question on this thing is, I'm getting very because we have it's an audio podcast
mhm.
too. So I'm just trying to get some audio description here. So again, are these just an edit where if I'm scrolling through, it just starts playing, or does someone do an introduction? Is someone saying, "Let me explain my edit to you," or "Let me do green"? It's just the
No,
straight
it's just
edit.
straight in. Yeah, it's like
And
it starts with like a cinematic shot of like something happening in the film, and then sometimes there's a song that goes exactly with it. Like they find the perfect song that like matches the meaning
uh,
of what they're trying to express, and then they show like important words from the song on screen to like really like
really hit
pack a
that
punch.
point.
Yeah, so it's such
Fascinating.
a like interesting like creative. I'm just like thinking and realizing this now as I'm saying it too. Like
It's so creative.
it's so intuitive also. Like you're just you I think with any like digital literacy or like digital nativisms, like
Yeah,
you're watching it and you don't even need to like have it be explained to you. Like you just understand what's happening and what they're
yeah.
trying to say. Whereas like I didn't even realize thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, they do pull a song that directly matches the theme of what they're saying. And then they pick out certain words that like emphasize their point even further and put those on screen with what's going on.
Wow, it's a decent
But
amount of editing work they're doing.
yo, totally, yeah.
And then putting your kind of marketing hat on here, are they doing this with permission? Like, where are they getting the, do you know, like, where, like, my understanding was that oftentimes these are just kind of ripped off the internet. Like,
Yeah.
it could be someone recording the screen somehow, breaking through those DRMs that we do have on Kinema. They're not
Hmm.
stealing from us, or we're just recording the TV in some way. So it's not even like a perfect, it's clarity. So my understanding is they're ripping it, but it's the studios and streamers are often okay with it because it's starting to spread like word of mouth and marketing. It's supporting the fandom. However, if it was ripped and they don't like it, they have the right to go to that creator and tell them to take it down. Have you seen anything in that space? I guess you know offhand if they're ripping it.
I'm going to have to guess yes. Like
Okay.
I would find it very hard to believe that someone with like 2,000 followers is getting permission from Warner Brothers to make an edit. But I think also like with the way the internet is now, like you kind of don't need to pay for anything ever,
Ooh. All right, keep
which
going with this.
yeah, like to be honest, there's a million people capturing a million things all the time that it's just a matter of okay, they take it down, someone's already screen recorded it and posted it somewhere else.
Yep.
There's no way to like honestly have people pay for anything really anymore. And obviously people still do. People have their Netflix subscriptions, they have, you know, Amazon Prime, things like that. And I think that's more just out of ease at a certain point because everything that you want, you can pirate, to be honest. You can watch it. So I think
As a filmmaker, don't you want people to pay for your film and support
absolutely
it?
oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah,
It's
I'm not condoning it or saying it's a good thing,
I think you're right.
but
We used to deal with BitTorrent, like back in my day.
mm,
BitTorrent was like the platform that was making it easy to steal content and like watch that content. And for social media, now you can watch some films are getting released the full film,
yeah,
like through social media.
yeah,
So I think you're right. There are many ways to, we've always found that like if people really, really want to steal, they're going to steal. It's
yeah,
really difficult. You can put everything in place and like we do, the big companies do, especially the big studios trying to protect like the IP of the Marvel films. They're constantly taking it down. And that's just kind of part of the battle. You'd also explain to me the substance and
mhm,
kind of the internet or sort of the TikTok meme culture around substance and how what that looks like in the TikTok world, where if you hear one, like two words audio or a few words audio, from the substance. You
Mhm.
have to know that movie really well to know that line. And when it's applied to a creator's self-made video, like it takes on this whole other new meaning.
Yeah, and I think this goes for like a lot of really iconic films generally. I think also, I think more specifically ones that have come out recently, just because those are the ones that people are watching. I don't think there's a lot of people watching like oldies as of now, just in my generation. I'm sure there are people, but
So curious,
these.
what is an oldie? And I swear if you say it's from the 90s.
No, I was literally gonna say like I always go back to this when I'm like someone's like, "What's like the most obscure like film you've had to watch for a class?" I'm like, "Cabinet of Dr. Caligari."
I
I'm
don't even
like,
know that one. What
it's
is
like the
that?
first ever horror film, and it's
Whoa.
like so weird. It's like German expressionism, like from like 1912. Like it's so random. So for me, I'm like, no one's watching that, and then I think
Okay, good
from it.
point. Not yet.
Although actually, I have seen it. It's really
See?
good on TikTok.
There's something for
Oh my
everybody.
god, yeah, it's so funny.
So the substance.
Yes. Yeah. So people tend to like find specific clips. Again, I think it's just like maybe the most like punchy lines or like punchy visuals that people are like, oh, that was a funny scenario. Let me like apply this to like as a reaction to something someone posts.
Okay.
But for the substance specifically, there's the line like control yourself, which Sue says when she sees, oh my God, why am I, Elizabeth? Yeah, Elizabeth, like, just, like, demolished a bunch of food, and then, like, when they do the switch over, she's, like, super angry about it, and she, like, screams, like, "Control yourself." And, like, in that part of the film, it's yeah, obviously, like, whoa. Like, when
Yeah.
you're watching it, it's I mean, the whole film is crazy.
Mm.
But people started using that clip and meshed it with the music, which is, like, very punchy, like, techno that was in the film as well, and made this kind of sound on TikTok. And then from there, people were like, oh, this is a really great allusion to how it feels to be a woman and having to conform to all these societal beauty standards. And so they would lay that clip over like this girl who's like posting herself, who's like working out in the gym, or like pictures of
Uh,
like skinny bodies and like runway models and things like that, where you're like, I have to conform to this like unattainable like body type
mhm.
thinness that women have to conform to in society or the way we're told we're supposed to look.
Yep.
And in two ways, I feel like there's always the polarized ways people take things online, but it's like in one way, it's as a social commentary and critique on society about, you know, the things that are enforced on women.
Mhm.
But on another hand, it's uh, girls who use that and then are like, yeah, you should control yourself.
Oh, interesting. And
Like,
so you can right, they're taking it two different
yeah.
directions, but you know pretty quickly. You still need to know. But do you think you still have had to have seen the substance to really understand? Like, oh,
I don't
interesting. You
even
don't
think
think
you have
so?
had to seen it. I think you probably just only had to see that clip,
Ah,
and because it's such, like, a guttural thing to say anyways,
yeah.
so it's like, you kind of already can glean that it's, like, about some sort of behaviorisms of, like, something women deal with,
Yep.
and then with it kind of patchworked over, like, women in the gym and things like that, and, like, foods that they're showing on screen, you're kinda like, "Okay, this is about, like, your body."
And then
Yeah.
where do you think, like, as someone who's doing, marketing and social media
Mhm.
marketing on behalf of brands, and these are consumer brands, when you think about the movies as brands or the studios who release movies under their brand banner, is there a role for them to play in this? Like, should they be working with creators more? We know that some creators are invited to red carpets, but should they be providing clips to these creators? Or is it something that just really can't be forced? If the movie is good enough and resonates in a certain way, it's gonna like enter this culture.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the latter. Depending on the film, depending on the creator, it might hit if they try to like make it hit in that way
Eh.
and give them clips. I feel like, and this is especially something that's really existed with Gen Z, is like we hate people trying to be authentic. And I think for a really long time there was a trend of like authenticity is in and like let me be quirky and like be the Wendy's or McDonald's Twitter and like say funny stuff. People were like, "Oh, this was hilarious." But then at a certain point, I definitely think that it kind of became the inverse where we're like, "We know that you're trying to be authentic and therefore hate that
Yeah.
because you're not authentic."
Oh, wow. So what do they do now? What does oldies do?
It's all about like organic social content, which
Yeah.
is so difficult to do. And something I am struggling to do in my role is like figuring out how to make something that is actually authentic, but make it hit because it's like sometimes being authentic means it's boring. Like
Yeah.
the clickbaity stuff, like it works because it's dramatic and silly and whatever. But again, a lot of times people can see through when it's really forced.
Yeah.
So I think all of these things, again, with like going back to like how they got the content in the first place, like it's genuinely just because people were like, I really like this film. I think this was really good. Or like something about it was particularly compelling. Or like the characters were hot. Like that's also huge. Like with Wednesday, the guy who
Oh, which
played
guy?
he
Like
played
Ethan in the first one?
no, it was the new season. It was the guy who like played the guy with no hand. Like Thing was his hand.
Wait, I'm not halfway through the season. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I have something to look forward to
I'm
though.
so sorry.
Oh, well, great. I'm
He's
looking forward to this hot man then.
he's Slurp. That's the guy.
Okay, great.
He was
He's
like,
creating a bunch of content. He's inspiring a bunch of
yeah,
content
he
now.
was like super hot, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" So like that spurred, I think, like a whole new following of Wednesday of people wanting to watch the second season because
wow.
he was just like really hot.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I yes, I
So
definitely missed that one, but I look forward to finishing the season now.
yeah, just wait until Slurp becomes more normal, and then you're like,
Oh
"Ooh,
my God. Okay, great. I look forward to Slurp.
yes."
Is that like for the summer I turned pretty? I feel like if I were in this culture and because I enjoyed the summer I turned pretty and there's loads of content, I would maybe make a different ending because I would maybe recommend she stay in Paris.
I haven't seen it, but I know that I have seen like edits, even though I've not watched the show. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm sure this slays.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that whatever this person edited is like great, but I don't really know who these people are.
And that's interesting. So like, yeah, this would hit harder if I knew it. And so these cultures, what's interesting about as much as there's stuff, we have all these subcultures online, so much content creation, so much is based off of other stuff, based off of, I guess, films and TV shows we put a lot of time and a lot of money into that have more traditional distribution. Without that, this is we could take this into an AI conversation very quickly with this release of Sora 2, which is doing something similar. Now we all can just create our own content, not just an edit of the characters, but make ourselves one of the characters. I'll ask you this real quick as our last question. So, future of AI. Are you seeing any AI content seep into TikTok in this film talk world?
Yes, a lot. And it's like really scary because there's been times where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And then you'll like scroll through the comments and someone will be like, I hate to say this is AI.
Wow.
And it's like, I think before, like even a year ago, it was like, okay, yeah, that's AI. Like it's like Jesus.
Yes.
And like Facebook. And you're like, what? And then like all the Facebook moms are just like, yes, bless, pray.
Yes.
Totally. And you're like, that's not real. But like they don't know that. But now it's become like people even my age who like genuinely are like, we cannot tell the difference. And I think that's really scary. Obviously for film, it means that there's going to be so many people that are just like losing their jobs, or like even creatives that like can't get projects off the ground because it's like, why would we do it the old fashioned way that requires so much money when we can just like put some stuff in an AI generator and it just makes it for us.
Make it quickly.
And it is really scary because it looks super real.
I worry about like for film, let's say The Substance, we talked about Euphoria, any of these shows that there is like fan love for great characters. If soon anyone can make those characters do anything, then you get to a point where there are people who have not seen the original shows or movies and they're watching these characters and thinking that that's actually what those characters did. If it becomes so indiscernible of what is AI and what is not, but they know who the characters are, that can get a little creepy to me and worrisome.
Yeah. It is creepy too, because I think also another thing to think about is that like these actors who played them too are like, oh yeah, I gave my face to and my body and everything, to be playing this role the way it was intended to be played. I read the script. I liked who these characters were. I want them to be that way. And then people can just like make them do things. And that's really scary to think that someone can just like have that ownership of your body that way in an even more like upper level creepy way.
It is.
It's like,
well, so we don't end on a creepy note.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. So what are you seeing in the, from your perspective, the communities you're in online, what is something like hopeful? Like what is something that makes you excited about where, as someone who's stepping into, when you graduate, hopefully a career in the film industry, what are some things that make you excited?
Yeah, I think the thing that is exciting is that there's so much more freedom to do things. I think even these people who make these edits, like, they are finding like editing jobs because they just make such good edits.
Wow.
And I think also it's a really great way to express your creativity, to really be like in a way that isn't stealing an actor's face and just from the content that already exists. Like, let me dream up another scenario. It is very much like writing fan fiction or any type of like novel. It's like, let me think through ways that this could have happened after the film ends, or like, what if this thing happened differently? Or like the time in between when there's time jumps, what happened during that? Like, I think there's so many interesting avenues for people now who are on TikTok and starting off that way, where people are being discovered because of the silly little edits they make, like Art and Patrick.
So there's like outside the industry opportunities to break in.
Yeah,
Cool.
it is like people who normally would never have the opportunity. Like they just end up making really cool stuff and they get recognized for it.
I think that's a really good perspective to have, and I hope that too. I think it's true. I think some of these other platforms have given people more access to show their creativity outside the system.
Yeah,
I have to end it there. I didn't even get to talk about Euphoria and all the other topics I wanted to go to. But thank you so much for sharing your perspective. Like for not representing all of Gen Z, your specific experience, but again, being what I like to call a YP, a young person, to talk to me about this stuff. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great.
And that's our episode. Thank you to our special guest, our producer and editor, Ron Casaro, and you, the filmmakers, creators, marketers, and distributors that are dedicated to connecting audiences with great films.